Welcome back, everybody, to Recovery Sticks. We're back with another one. I hear people say all the time, man, I got a felony, I got a bad record, I can't get a job, there's no jobs out here, I don't know what to do. Is it hard to get a job as a felon? Yeah, it is. But let's go back in time. When I first came home from my program, prison program, I had no idea what I was going to do. And I had so many people telling me that, hey man, I've been home 2 years, I couldn't get a job. I've been home 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I haven't been able to get a job. There's no jobs out here, or the money ain't nothing. I don't know what to do. So I went back to selling drugs, or I went back to getting high. When I came home, I was like, man, all right, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but we're gonna have to figure something out. I applied. When I came home, I probably applied for 7 or 8 jobs the same day I came home. I came home March 1st, 2018. I applied for 7 or 8 jobs and waited. That was a Friday. I waited till that Tuesday. I called. The people were like, yo, because of your background, you can't get a job. You can't work here, blah, 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 blah. You got this on your record. You got this on your record, whatever, whatever, whatever. I was like, all right. So on my head, I'm like, man, I'm going to go back to selling dope. I'm going to go back to hustling. I'm going to go back to just get money however I can get money. All right. Because when I was in prison, I was working on being a peer recovery counselor. But when I got out, there were no peer recovery jobs available. You had to have all this stuff that I just didn't have. So I ended up meeting a guy who worked at Wendy's. And the guy at Wendy's told me, hey, man, you know what? If you want a job, we can hire you. We're only going to hire you for $9 an hour. But if you want a job, you can work. And this is a situation that's offered to a lot of people. All right. A lot of people are offered jobs. So when people say there's no jobs, no, there's jobs, it just doesn't give you the money that you want. But I believe in things called lifeboat jobs. It's a job to keep you afloat until you find something better. All right. So I told the guy, I was like, man, you know what? I'm broke. I got a girl sending me a couple dollars, but I'm really broke and I need to take care of myself as a man. So that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm just going to have to go work at Wendy's. I went and worked at Wendy's. Now, any of y'all worked at fast food? I think I worked at McDonald's when I was like 16, 17. So any of y'all that's ever worked fast food know that it's fast, it stinks, it's nasty. You stink when you come home. It's horrible. You work late. It's just nasty. The whole thing is nasty. But it's a job. And I did that. My first day there, I really didn't want to do it. The Wendy's that I was working at had a couple other people who had been in trouble before. They were kind of just hustling and making money and just hustling on the side, doing whatever the heck they were doing on the side. And the manager was super cool. She understood the situation. She was just trying to give us good advice, give us good knowledge. But it was a horrible job, and I hated it. I hated everything about it, but I kept working it. Well, when I first started working there, they had me working the drive-through window. They never put me on the fryer. They always had me working the drive-through window. They were like, yo, your customer service is good. We're going to put you on the drive-through window. So they put me on the drive-through window. They took me from the drive-through window to the front counter because of how busy we were getting. I'd probably been there about 2 months, 3 months, and this lady comes to the front counter. I'll never forget her. She gets ready to order her food, and I said, hi, ma'am, how are you doing? She said, I'm doing well, and we got to talking, and she said, can I ask you a question? I said, what? She said, why do you work here? I said, what do you mean, why do I work here? She said, why do you work here? I said, because I need a job. She was like, I can tell by who you are, you're better than this. You can find something else. I said, all right, thank you. And, she took her order. I gave her her food. It was what it was. At that time, that's when I realized, hey, you don't have to go back to the streets. Hey, you don't have to go back and do this. Hey, you don't have to go back and do wrong. There is more because other people see more in you. Which other people have told me that before, but to have this random person say it meant a lot. So I left Wendy's that day. I went home, I got on the computer, and I started searching for serving jobs and bartending jobs. Come to find out, there was a restaurant in the area that needed a server. Bet. I went over there, started talking to him. I talked to him that Wednesday. I started working that Friday. That Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I worked. I made like $400. Cool with me. Hey, this is straight. We got out really late, but it was cool. It was easier. It was better than Wendy's. So I quit Wendy's right away. J brakes on the trucks behind me, man. I have to use those things all the time. So then after I started working as a bartender, after I started working as a server, I went to another restaurant, and I started working at Outback. And that was a fun job. I'm not gonna lie. That was a great job. If you're a person that's having a problem and a hard time getting a job, and you got a background, but you know that you have turned into a positive person, and you want to make good money, and you want to deal with good people, and you want to have a great career, go work at Outback. They are there. It is set. Like, it is. If you follow their program, you will blow up. There is no way around it. While I was working at Outback, I met a bunch of people. I ended up connecting with a bunch of people, and then I ended up meeting a guy whose mom worked at a specific hotel, and that woman offered me the chance and the opportunity to leave Outback and come work at this hotel. And I knew that the management process there was pretty good, and I knew you could go up and go up and go up. Me having my background, I couldn't get a job at hotels. I knew for a fact I was not going to get this job, and I told her I was not going to be able to get this job. This is how God works when you're positive and you have a plan. This is what God does for you. When I got to the hotel to the interview, the very first time they told me how much money I was going to be making, I said basically I didn't want to leave my serving job for this. So I'll be all right. When I left that first interview, as I declined, I ended up leaving Outback, and I ended up going to another restaurant, a small restaurant, craft brewing beer place, made good money, stayed on the bar all day. It was great. They called me back for a second interview and asked me if I wanted to come back. I came back. The money was different, and the manager there just happened to be a guy who understood my background. He understood troubles because he was part of a nonprofit organization that helped out people who were getting in trouble. Nobody else where I worked or where I was had a background. Nobody. But he asked me, hey, are you willing to do this? And I said yes. And he said, all right, we're going to give it a try. And I was like, what? He was like, we're going to give it a try. I was like, oh my God. He was like, just don't mess it up for the next person. I was like, all right, cool. So right after that happened, I kept working. Well, one day I'm working, and he calls me. And this part is really important to anybody who applies for a job with a background. Anybody who applies for a job who has anything on their background. My GM calls me downstairs. He says, yo, Anthony, my real name is Anthony. He was like, yo, Anthony, I want you to tell me about your background. I said, what do you mean? He said, tell me about everything that's on your background. Man, I've been arrested 30-something times. I don't know everything that's on my background, but I can tell you about the stuff I can remember. And he said, okay. So I just went to tell him, told him everything. Like, this is everything I did. This is what it's going to say. This is why it happened, blah, 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 blah. He would look at the paper, or he looked back at the screen. Well, what's this? Blah, 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 blah. So I tell him, hey, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. And I'm saying all this stuff knowing at the end he's going to be like, hey, we can't keep you here. Like, your background's too bad. Like, insurance policies, whatever it might be. At the end of the whole conversation, the man looks at me and says, okay, go back upstairs and go to work. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to go to work today. They're going to fire me after work, blah, blah, blah. So I go back upstairs and I go to work. And the whole day I'm shook. So I knew he was going to leave around 6. So around 5 o'clock, I go downstairs and I say, sir, am I going to be fired? And he said, what'd you do? And I said, I didn't do anything. He said, then why are you going to be fired? I said, because I just told you my whole background and I don't know what to do. And he looked at me and said, I'm not going to fire you. I'm going to keep you because you told the truth. I was like, what? He said, the fact that you didn't lie about anything that I asked you, and I already knew the answers to all of it, I'm keeping you. I was blown. I'm talking about, this is a huge Fortune 500 company. Like, I'm blown. Like, upscale type place, blown. I went on to move up in positions at this place, and I ended up taking on 2 or 3 different roles. And again, I'm the only person where I work who has a background. I ended up meeting people who were delivering linen to us and delivering other things to us, and those people had gotten their CDLs. And I kept talking to this guy, and he was like, "Look, man, you should go get your CDLs. It's a lot of money in it. You should try it, try it, try it." So I got on social media, and I got a part of a bunch of Facebook groups and different new trucker driver groups, and I was talking to drivers who were driving as I was literally talking to them, and they told me what they were making, and they told me what I would make as a new driver, and they were very honest. So I found an organization who would pay for me to go to CDL school, and that's where I am now. I still work, and I'm about to go on the road as a CDL driver. But I make this video because people tell me all the time that there's no work, or because of their background they can't get a job. You might not be able to get the job that you want, but you can always get a job. I don't care if that job pays you $9 an hour like it did me. You always need to have a lifeboat job. Always need to have a lifeboat job. Yes, selling drugs is better money. Robbing, you can do whatever. Whatever the criminal activity is, it's going to pay you more than whatever it is that you're doing. But you're free when you work that $9 an hour job. You feel good because you made honest money. And no matter what you do, you can always go up. You don't have to go back down. And even if you have a job that's up and you have to go back down, you're still staying positive because you're still moving up. And it is so important that I get the point across to people that just taking a job will show people that you don't feel like you're better than everybody else. I've seen a lot of times where people were offered jobs, small jobs, $10 an hour jobs. They didn't have a job, they didn't have any bills, they didn't have anything but a cell phone, and they'd be like, "I'm not working for $10 an hour." But the next guy who takes the job and works for $10 an hour ends up making $15, $16, $17 an hour, and then this guy looks at him like, "Oh man, you ain't nothing." Well, you're just jealous because he took the job that you weren't man enough to take. Look, there's jobs out here. There are jobs. And I work with so many organizations who put people in jobs every day. There's jobs out here if you want to find them. A lot of people, they don't want to just work for a couple of dollars. So when people look at me and they say, "Hey, there's no jobs, I can't find a job," I automatically in my head think, either you're not looking for a job, you're not taking the jobs that you're given, or the jobs that you are given, you just feel like you're better than. Or you just are in a criminal mind and activity and you just rather do criminal things instead of working an honest job. And to me, I can't get with you on that. I can't with you. I'm not knocking my boys in the street. I got some boys in the street who are doing their thing. I got some girls in the street who are doing their thing. But all bad things end bad. And I know that. I know that. Is it guaranteed it's going bad? No. I know some people who did a bunch of wrong, changed their life, took the money, and did a bunch of other great stuff with it. But that's a real small amount of people. If you're in the streets, if you're doing bad, if you're doing fraud, if you're doing any of that negative stuff, I'm telling you right now, it's going to end bad. I was locked up with a lot of people who did the same thing. They had a plan too. They knew how they could get away with stuff. And it always end bad. Look, find a job, no matter what the job is. If it's at the grocery store, if it's at the convenience store, if it's at the dollar store, if it's making pizza, if it's cooking, if it's chefing, if it's serving, if it's bartending, if it's working in a warehouse, if it's shoveling cow manure. Get a lifeboat job. Find something that will keep you afloat till you find that bigger ship. If you can get in a lifeboat and you can float down the water until you get a bigger ship, then that's what you need to do. And that's what I'm preaching to people. I don't care what it is. Find a job. Find a job. And if you're an addict and you don't have a job, then you're really screwed, because that means you're stealing and robbing from people. So if you're going to be an addict, at least have a job and be an addict. That way you can support your own habit. I'm not telling you to be an addict, but I'm saying just keep a job. Just keep a job. The biggest thing that has kept me afloat out here since I've been home, since I've been doing all the stuff that I'm doing, is keeping a job. Keeping a job. Not caring about and going to the job. Not caring about what my girlfriend's doing, what this person's doing, what that person's doing. Going to work. Anybody around me will tell you, I don't care what's going on in life. I'm going to work. You could be having the biggest party in the world, and it can start at 7 o'clock. But if I know that I got to be at work at 7 o'clock, you can have every celebrity in the world at your house. I'm still going to work. I'm not calling off of work. I've been in my job almost 2 years. I've called off one time. One time. And it was a real call off. Like, I just could not work. It was not happening. I felt like I was going to die. So for everybody who says there's no work, there's work. You just got to find that work. And you got to find it in yourself to want to work. And I promise you, Sticks will promise you from the bottom of my heart, once you start working and you stick with it, bigger things will happen and you'll go bigger and you'll go up. And that's just the whole truth. That's just the whole truth. Y'all, this is my message for today. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Pass it along. I hope it at least gets the wheels turning. At least gets the wheels turning. Because you're talking to somebody who ain't been through it. And I've seen every side of it. There is nothing you can tell me that I ain't seen. You're talking to somebody who ain't been through it. For everybody who's watching, have a good day. Peace.